everybody. It's me, Miss McNickol. Welcome to episode number 8 of Just Right. You can see the sign behind me. It says Abbey Road, Westminster, London. It's on my daughter Abby's room. This sign came from London when my other daughter went to visit there a few years ago. And today, on Just Right, we're going to talk about signs and posters, why people write them, and how you can write one yourself. So let's go inside and just write signs and posters. Hi friends, here we are, episode 8 of Just Right. It's all about signs and posters. So what's the difference between a sign and a poster? Well, usually we see signs outside and they're made of metal, or they're made of plastic, or they're made of something really sturdy. Whereas posters are usually inside and they're made out of paper. Both of them can be used for the same reasons, and we'll look at some of those reasons. First, I'm going to share with you part of a book about signs. And then we'll look at some different posters and signs and why people write them. Finally, we'll make some signs or posters ourselves. They don't have a lot of writing, but they're very important in the world that we live in. So, let's just write signs and posters.
The author Zoran Milic put a book together called City Signs. In this book, he shows us why signs are important in the city. One thing that signs are used for, not just in the city but all over, is just to label things. You can label things like vehicles. Here we have the label school bus right on the top of that bus. We also have a label on the police car to show us that this is a special type of car. We can put signs on buildings, on places. This is the fire station. And this is the beach, so that we know where we are. Here's a sign that labels the park. Sometimes there are signs or labels right on people to show what their jobs might be. Here's a sign right on a school crossing guard, or here on the lifeguard. Signs can give us information. This tells us where the horses are on this farm. Or they can give us warnings, such as this railroad crossing, which might tell us to watch out for the train when it comes, when it's flashing. Signs can give us directions to show us which way to go on a trail somewhere or on a street. Signs can warn us again about rules and what to do. Posted means not to go on that part of the land, or no trespassing, don't walk on that part. This picture shows two signs, one that gives direction and one that gives rules. The rule says all pets must be on a leash and cleaned up after your pet. Let's switch now and look at some posters. Posters can also give information. This is a poster about washing your hands, and it gives all the steps that you should do while you're washing your hands so that you do a thorough and complete job in doing it. There are other kinds of posters that give information too. This one gives information about a special rainbow day that's going to happen at a school. Sometimes posters are used for decorations to help you remember some special events or times. Sometimes they're used to help you find things that are lost, like this lost dog poster could help you find a pet that is missing. Or here's a sign that says wanted, children who love reading. Sometimes we can make a poster to show appreciation or to say thank you. This one says, "We are staying home for you. Thank you for your service." We can make a poster to cheer teams on, like this Red Sox poster, or to cheer on or say congratulations to people that we know that are playing sports or that have accomplished something that we're proud of them. This poster gives advice. Never forget the power of practice using a soccer star. Here's another one giving advice. Kind words are the music of the world. Perhaps one of the most important ways that we can use posters is to share our opinion or what we think about something. This one says, "You're out of this world," telling an opinion that you think somebody is pretty special. Opinions share what we think and help us to tell others what we think. They can change the world. So you could make a poster that gives a positive opinion about something, such as the coolest kid in town. It's what you think about a kid. Or you can think about a problem you might learn about or know that's happening around you in your home, in your school, in the world. This person thought about the problem of turtles and thinks that we should save the turtles. This person might have learned that too many trees were being cut down, and so they made a poster to say, "Save the trees." This person learned that sometimes there are forest fires, and this poster is made to teach people to put their fires out. Here's one about exercising and the importance it has, showing you how to be active and take care of your body. Here are 3 posters that show a concern about animals having a home, that you could adopt pets, or this one when you're out with your pet, that you should scoop the poop. And so when you learn about something in the world that seems to you to be a problem, you can take your opinion and make a poster to show what it says. Here's one that talks about kindness and that it is awesome in our world, and that together we are special. So, once you think about a problem and you have an opinion to share, you're ready to make your poster. You want to make sure that you keep your letters really large and clear, like in this poster that says, "Reading changes you." Keep your pictures pretty simple too. If you get too much on a poster, like this one, it becomes hard for people to read. There's too much information there, and you don't even know where to look because it's really crowded on the paper. So, big letters and simple pictures are the best way to go. Some people like to use superheroes or like to use famous characters on their posters, like this reading with the Super Buddy, where we use Dogman on that one. This poster says, "It's not about how big you are. What matters is how hard you work and how big you play." This person took a quote from Lionel Messi, a famous soccer player, and put it on their poster. Here's another quote. "The more that you read, the more things you will know. The more that you learn, the more places you'll go." A quote by Dr. Seuss. So think of an opinion that you have about something. Make yourself a poster, and I'll tell you, after you make it, you'll feel like this says, "Kid, you'll move mountains." So let's get out some tools and make some posters. So one of the first things we're going to do when we make our sign or poster is think about the words and the letters. And I want to show you some little tricks, because you really want to make sure that your letters are large enough for people to read and that they'll stand out, because that's your important message that you want to share with the world. So let's look at some different ways that we can make letters. I'm going in my Just Right box. I'm going to get out a piece of paper, and I'm going to use the fat markers so that you can all see. And I'm going to show you how to make some different kinds of letters. First, I want to show you that you'll want to write kind of big. And when you make your poster, you'll want to write your letters probably in pencil first, because you're making them in a large size. And sometimes when we do that, we run out of room. So you'd want to use your pencil first and make your words. But here are some ways you can make your letters. You could make your letters, once you use your pencil, you could just trace them over with a marker. And they may look like this. I'm just going to write the word "right." And so here are my regular, just printed letters for the word write. To make it stand out a little more, you could write them all in uppercase letters. So I could go like this. And you might want to use the side of your marker or go over your writing twice to make it stand out. So watch. Here's when I do it just regular, the W. Now watch the R. I'm going to use the edge of my marker, and it makes it a little bit fatter, so you can read it easier. Or here's the I, just regular, and then I could go over it a couple of times to make it stand out like that. But you can see when I use these bolder letters that it is easier to read than the first way I wrote it. Here's another way that people can fancy up their letters on a poster. They can use little dots on their letters. So watch, if I do my W like this, and every time that the line changes direction, I'm going to put a dot like this. It just makes the letters look a little bit, wherever they come together, I'm going to put a dot, a little bit fancier. And so that's another way that you can make your letters so they'll stand out. Another way is to, just like we did with the dots, just put a little line in those spots, like this. And that can make your letters fancy. And here's the R. And here's the I. I'll just do well, I could do this kind of an I, and then it could have some little fancy points on the ends. Okay, so then we can look at bubble letters. I see two ways to make bubble letters, one with rounded lines and one with square lines. So the rounded ones probably are more like a bubble because it's square. So you start by just making your letter, and wherever there's a sharp point, you might want to make it rounded. So see, my W has the round, and then I'm going to just trace around on the inside of it, following the same shape. So let's do my R. I'll make a lowercase r this time, so it gets a straight line. I make my regular letter, and then I'm going to make it trace around and make it rounded and make it rounded. You see that? And here's my I. Instead of making a square at the bottom, you're going to make a circle, round it up. And so there's another way to make your letters bigger. You could, of course, color them in with the same color or with a different color to make them stand out. So let's try it now with the square at the top. So instead of rounded shapes on my letters, I'm going to make them kind of square. And I'm going to trace inside, follow the same pattern, and keep the thing square with a corner instead of rounded. So that's another way to make our letters. So here's the R. I make my basic R, and then I make the line square, and I make this line with a sharp edge there. Instead of rounded on my I would make it with sharp corners, like a rectangle, and maybe I even want to make the dot as a square too. And so these are some ways that you can think about when you go to write your letters in your poster or sign. Now, what am I going to write about today? Well, I was thinking that something that I've been learning about, of course, is the virus that everybody talks about. And I've been making some masks for my friends and for people who need them. So I thought, well, why don't I have something to say about that and something that I think about it. I think that people should wear masks. So I'm going to make a little poster that says that. I do some volunteering at a little thrift shop, and we might be open pretty soon. And so I'd like to hang up a little sign that says, please wear a mask to keep us all safe. So what I did, I thought of my idea, something that I care about, and now I'm going to, I made it myself a little sketch. sketch of what I want to do. It says, keep all of us safe. And here's my little picture with somebody with a mask. Please wear a mask. That's the poster that I want to make. So I'm going to get out a paper, and I want my paper, this is something you don't want probably little paper for, if I want people to see it and hang it on a wall. If you were making a little sign maybe to hang above your doorknob that says keep out, you might be able to use a small piece of paper. But I want it kind of big. So I do have in my box a big square piece of paper. I think I'll use this. I could tape 2 regular pieces of paper together to make a larger poster or sign too. So here are my different ways to write. I'll stick that up there. And here's my paper. And I said I'm going to use a pencil first to kind of plan it out. So let me do that. Here's my little sketch. Keep us all safe. I want to make sure that my letters are going to fit. So here I go. I'm going to write them kind of big. And I'm doing it just in pencil. And then I'll make them fancy. Keep. I'm writing the word keep. And that's about how big I wrote it. It'll look better when I go over it with a marker. Us all. And then I'm writing the word safe. I think safe's important, so I'm going to put it in all capital letters. Keep us all safe. And then I'm putting my lips. Bum, bum, bum. And then at the bottom, I'm going to write the word please. Wear a mask. So there are my words written. I'll go over them to make them fancy. And I'm going to draw my picture in the middle. I'm going to do that, and I'll show you what it looks like when I finish. So I finished my poster, and it looks like this. First I wrote in pencil, you saw that. And then I traced my letters with a marker. I had to make sure that my letters were pretty far apart, because when I went over it with a marker, the letters are fatter. So be careful of that. And then I wanted to make some of the letters a little bit fancier to stand out. So I added the little lines on them, and I did it down here as well. And then I worked on my picture. I kept it pretty simple, but I added enough detail and color so people knew what it was. And then I added, it looked pretty blank, so I just added a couple of other little things to fill in the space. So make yourself a sign or a poster. Give a message, give information, tell your opinion. Be sure to be clear and share your thoughts with the world. So go off and just write signs and posters. See you next time.
Just write me a letter. Just write me a rhyme. Just write me an email. Any old time. Just write me a story. Maybe short, maybe long. Or if you prefer, just write me a song. Just write me a text or a card with a line. Just write me your feelings. I hope you are fine. Just write what you can, write big or write small. Whatever you write will be good for us all. Just write, everybody. Just write. See you next time.